I want 100 properties. You got there and it was like, oh, that was a mirage. Like it wasn't real. Like nothing really changed, And then you realize that, oh, it's not the number of properties, it's the people that are more important. That's why it really didn't matter. I don't believe in classes. Each human being is God's most precious possession. And if you just do the next obedient thing, then everything seems to work out.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Reborn podcast. Today I got the opportunity to sit down with Ethan Fernhaber. He's had a huge impact on me, and I know that he'll have a huge impact on you. Ethan came from humble beginnings and now leads 5 businesses as well as ministries. In this episode, we dive deep into tactical strategies on how to build successful, faith-driven businesses and organizations. With that said, let's dive right in. So Ethan, thank you for being here.
Yeah, what an honor. It's been so great just being a part of your life, Tony, and watching the transformation occur in real time year after year with you. So can't wait to get into it and see what the Lord does with it.
Yeah. I remember the first time we met at Holiday Park. I came like dressed up in like business clothes because I had heard about you and I didn't know you yet. And then you came like in a sweats and a sweatshirt. And I feel like it's full circle. We're both in our
comfy clothes now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great getting out in nature, being part of God's creation. And I think like sitting is the new smoking, right? So what can we do to get out there and move our bodies? And yeah, I love to have walking meetings whenever I can.
Yeah, I don't know that the Reborn podcast would be the Reborn podcast if I hadn't met you.
You're making me blush, man.
Because I wasn't reborn fully, at least. I hadn't been baptized when I met you.
You were ready. Yeah. You're ready for the next steps, and you keep on giving the Lord your yes, and he'll keep on growing you up. And same story with my life. I think he moves us from glory to glory to glory, and we understand him more every day of our lives through the things that he's revealing to us. And often those Kairos moments are learning opportunities. And so consistent development until we graduate into eternity.
For those who don't know, what is a Kairos moment?
And so I explain it as a moment in time. So you have Chronos, which is time, but then a Kairos moment is like when the distance between heaven and earth is thin, and it's typically like a jarring experience. It can either be positive or it can be negative. 2 Sundays ago, I was at Mercy Road Northwest, and Pastor Herson said, when you're following the Lord, you'll get to experience opposition. And about 15 minutes after that church service, we got rear-ended. My daughter and I were in the car, and the guy behind us, all of his airbags went out, and so I pulled the car around and then went and helped him out. He had blood coming out of his head, and after talking to him for a couple minutes, I realized it was my neighbor. It was like lives 4 or 5 houses down. So that for me was a Kairos moment. On the way home, just realizing that I was quick to exit the car and didn't spend enough time checking with my daughter. Really was a Kairos moment for me to, pay more attention to the people closest to me and not be so community focused. So that's kind of helped me reorganize my life. So I say that out of a posture of repentance. As a 49-year-old individual, I'm still learning and growing every single day.
I think often as leaders, we can find ourselves in periods where we're doing more for the Lord than the time that we're spending with him. How can we be intentional in spending time with the Lord and overflowing out of what he's giving us rather than our own performance, and also slowing down to experience and to recognize those Kairos moments and to receive the lessons that the Lord has for us in them?
Yeah. I think working from a place of rest is just so important. And almost, I picture babies, right? Like babies, they don't need to do anything to encounter love. And I think so often we want to create Lego structures, and that the Lord would be super impressed with this Lego structure that we put together. And it's
Mm.
kind of like when our kids play with blocks, it's like, yeah, that's super cool. But, honestly, I love you for how I've created you to be.
Mm.
So I think that just spending time with the Lord is just so important, and it's
Mm.
an opportunity for refreshment. I know my one of my keystone habits: wake up in the morning, then it's three chapters of the
Mm.
Bible, and then some time of prayer, and then once a week on Sunday, I pray for families in our community, and we're looking at Christmas cards on a refrigerator
Mm.
earlier today. I take those Christmas cards and tape them inside this journal, and then pray over
Mm.
husbands and wives and sons and daughters once a week, and it's just fills me up looking at all those smiling faces, watching families grow over time. Yeah.
How do you remain grounded in your heart and praying for others and remaining grounded in your community amidst building big organizations that have so many different moving parts? How do you not just get distracted by those big moving parts and lose sight of what is truly important in the kingdom?
Yeah, I believe that people are God's most precious possession. So the people need to come first before the organization. One thing my wife taught me is human-centered design. So that's forming your organization based off the needs of the individual people. So when we built out P30, instead of importing solutions from our context, we got quiet and we listened. We
Mm.
listened to the voice of the people. And if you go out to P30 today, it's a beautiful and thriving community because it's exactly what they asked for. It's their space, not our space. So I think getting quiet and listening is a really important piece.
Mm. Have you always been that way?
No, it's been an evolving process over years. And, I'd like to say started off in this great trajectory, but it really wasn't the case. I mean, I was, yeah. It's been a transformation journey. My life verse is Romans 12:2 to
Mm.
be transformed by the renewing of your mind, and renewing management is one of
Mm.
the entities that we've created. um, and I think that we're able to get new neurological connections over
Mm.
time. I don't think like people are ever fixed, or they can choose to grow, they can choose to evolve, they can choose to accept feedback and then change what they're doing.
So P30, if I'm not mistaken, has been uh, was birthed less than a decade ago, right?
Yeah.
And you're 49. What was before then like? What led you uh,
P30.
to P30?
Yeah.
What from the way you grew up, the way maybe businesses or a career that you had before P30, just life overall, your walk with God and your walk with your wife and children and such.
Yeah. I think the three pillars of our family are faith, entrepreneurship, and education.
Mm.
So we believe that embracing those three things can ignite transformation in human beings and in communities. With P30, it's the entrepreneurship pillar that we're really pouring into.
Mm.
Before we started P30, we started Nexus, which sits on top of Mercy Road Northwest and has helped create a sustainable income stream for that church plant. Nexus was created for larger firms, then P30 was created for more individual entrepreneurs, members of the Far East Side community. And I'm just one board member of these 501c3s that were created, but creating liberated financial models is something that I love to do and have some gifting in that area. Stephanie's an entrepreneurship professor, and creating sustainable income streams so that new nonprofits or for profits aren't contingent on like grants or donor support to continue operating. And so we've helped do that. I think I was formed as an entrepreneur, but really didn't realize that until I was in my mid 20s. My brother read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, handed me the book, and I left my life of banking and went into real estate first half time and then eventually full time. Now we have 5 operating companies and over 30 LLCs, which hold the individual rental properties, and then that house factory on the Far East Side called Volume Mod that uh, is one of the most redemptive ecosystems that I've experienced in my life.
And Volume Mod it's number one in the Midwest, I believe, for modular housing.
Says Tony on the Reborn podcast, so I don't know if that's true or not.
No.
We love building modular multifamily, and there's not that much competition within that space, but I have no statistical evidence of that. I'm proud to say that this year we'll celebrate our 1,000th floor being produced out of Volume Mod, and it's less than 5 years old, and we're on pace to produce 10 units this week, which is a new record for the organization. So it's great after seeing production paused in 2024 now to have a full pipeline through the end of the year. It's super encouraging to see that business begin to flourish.
How do you balance excellence, hitting new records, with the empathy of caring for individuals' needs, whether it's maybe they're going through stuff at home and it's like wearing on them and how they are performing at work while also overachieving at work?
Yeah.
How do you balance those two?
Well, if you talk to people who work with me, they won't call me an overachiever. So that's part of it. I only do what my specific assignment is, and it shouldn't be done like in the natural. It should be done in the supernatural. Earlier this week, my daughter and I got our vision checked together, and then we got home a little early, and we ended up going to the BMV to do a registration together. And on the way back, I remembered one of our residents within our apartment community was at St. Vincent Hospital, and the Lord impressed it upon my heart, go visit her. So Ava and I got to go spend some time with her, pray with her, and get to just be with her. And it couldn't have been scheduled, right? But if you just do the next obedient thing, then everything seems to work out. But one thing that I've had to understand is like what has been built is bigger than what I have power to do. So I need to stay obedient and stay within the yoke of the Lord to do this work at this point in time. And so he'll give me specific assignments, and then he has brought in a lot of treasure bearers into my life, just people who have a heart to help what we're doing, whether that's a political person or an investor or just a connector here for people who can help you accomplish what your goals are. It's been an amazing experience.
What challenges or struggles have you found in remaining faithful and giving all that glory, all of the glory to God, instead of like all these people just want to help me? Like I'm a pretty cool guy, and I just want to come and be a part of this. Like, of course they do. It's look at what we're doing. How do you give that all to God instead of being prideful?
Well, it's ridiculous that they would want to help. I had two guys come up from Tennessee yesterday, and they're like, "Well, we're going to refer this and refer that." And I'm like, "Well, someone else wanted a referral fee." They say, "Oh, we don't want a referral fee. Like, you're
Mm,
good. Like, we just want to support that work." Like, how could I take the credit or the glory for that they would just want to send business
mm,
our way because they believe in what we're doing? And you've been out to the factory, you've experienced the presence that exists on 30th and Post out there. And
mhm.
it's just like something that's bigger than us. And I think when it's bigger than us and there's a reverence for the work, and I think they'd see that, hey, I'm a good steward of that, the people that the Lord has entrusted me with, the properties that He's entrusted me with, the relationships that He's entrusted me with. And so, yeah, we're hopeful and expectant that that would just continue to happen in the years ahead.
I guess as both a servant and a steward, how would you say you've grown since your time transitioning from banking, but also even within the time from when P30 was initially opened?
Yeah, well, when I think about what the Lord has created me to be, and my specific one of my assignments is to be a stage builder for other people to stand on. So I'm not seeking the the credit, the accolades, all the rest. I'm a introvert. I don't love large groups of people. You know what I mean? I'm more of a one-on-one or a small group person. That's where my best work is done. So I think at this season in my life, it's how can I create an opportunity for someone else to stand up and uncover what their gifts and their calling is. And with the different businesses that we operate, it's more than what I could do by myself. So I need to raise up and empower great leaders to do the work that's ahead of them. And thankfully, I've been able to find better talent than I'm able to do those jobs. And
Mm.
when you start with a double wide in Owensburg, Indiana, and you grow it to 5,000 units, like you've had all the jobs, right? Like I've had all the jobs. And so I know that I have people today that are much better than me at that specific thing.
Mm.
And but what else am I called to do? I'm called to be a loving creator. So starting things, pushing things into being, pushing momentum, standing behind and beside people. That's part of what I'm gifted at. But ultimately, it's up to them to do the work. But if I can get ahead of them and kind of help create a pathway, that's great. And then if I can stand behind them with my hand on the small of their back, is giving them a little bit of force to keep moving forward.
Mm.
I think I'm well positioned to be a benefit for those people.
How do you discern whether you're in a season of having a hand on the back or going in front and creating this new organization or new initiative, whatever it might be? How do you discern that and also not overwhelm your team with either too much challenge, too much pushing, or like we have all this to do? Like it's because it's I feel like it's easy to create at
Yeah.
times. But then there's the tangible day to day work that needs to be done too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And that's something that I struggle with. For the first part of your question, like I talked to a lady yesterday, and she's got a home that she wants to create as a oasis for non-traditional college students, and that was her assignment. So that's her assignment. And so for her, I am a Sherpa. I am going to help show her the trail, and I'm going to help carry some of the baggage. So how can I help this individual accomplish what the Lord has impressed upon her heart? So that would be her assignment. How do I not overwhelm my team? I overwhelm my team a lot. So, and this is something that I'm trying to work on. Josh Wagner with Everbloom Consulting. You know Josh,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
He's currently implementing scaling up at all of our
Mm.
organizations. And by implementing this operating system, we'll have clearly defined rocks or what are the highest priorities that the leaders of the businesses need to work on. And then they'll create a 13-week sprint of milestones that would relate back to what that priority is. And then I'm a futurist, so I can see things down the line, and uh, I need to become more disciplined at saying, okay, that's quarter one, this is quarter two, this is quarter three, this is 2027.
Mm.
We're going to do that in 2030.
Mm.
So I need to get it out of me and on paper, and then I need to have someone else who would drop it within the specific quarter and then make sure it was driven to completion.
How do you know when it's something that should be done within that quarter, or if it might not be done for 2 years?
Yeah.
Because it's easier to put it on paper that this needs to be done than to actually go out and execute it.
Yeah, I think you just prioritize it, and then you can't have more than like 3 or 5 priorities in a specific
Mm.
quarter. So like right now, we want to create a training center that would eventually educate more than 100 people per year on how to create modular homes, how to be a property manager, how to be a property maintenance technician. That'll be a third or a fourth quarter initiative. I know that I want to move from being reactionary and become more proactive. So right now, the house factory needs to hire 26 people, and we don't have much of a pipeline.
Mm.
So if you think about, we're going to focus on funnel creation instead of posting an ad. We're going to start pouring into people 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months before we even need them.
Mm.
And I think something that's been impressed upon my heart is, may we be known for our sending capacity as opposed to what we've gathered. So even if some of these property managers go and work for Artizone or for Glick or Buckingham, like, we'll applaud that because we're sending people out and they're doing better um, later on than they are today.
How do you keep your eyes on the future while living in the present and also having maybe issues of the present, whether it's employee turnover, cash flow, maybe deals falling apart, stuff like that?
Yeah, well, I think it's both and, right? We can't ignore the present, right? While we were talking today, my pocket shook 3 or 4 times with text messages coming in. Um, Thankfully, when we've got great leaders in place, they can take care of the majority of the day-to-day issues. And I think one thing that I've really embraced are like different rhythms. So doing planning on an annual basis for us is very important. Having a 3 or 4 year target, 3 to 5 year target, and then a 10-year BHAG, big,
Mm.
hairy, audacious goal, is important to us so we can see way down the field and then more specifically, like what's directly in front of us. And to know that, hey, we're going to do quarterly planning in the last month of the quarter for the next quarter, and then just setting up those rhythms, right? Those pulses, the heartbeat is just so important. I think if you're all alone with just a notebook and not like a team or a community that's surrounding you, it can definitely become overwhelming. But when you have a lot of momentum, and momentum is a force that almost pulls you forward, it can pull you forward in a way that, yeah, creates a lot of good in the lives that are surrounding you.
Is your BHAG something that you anticipate hitting?
Uh, yeah, and I've hit a couple of milestones in the past, and each one is kind of like a horizon, right? Like, when do I get there? And the first
Yeah.
one was well, I want 100 properties, and it's like, or 100 units. And you got there and it was like, oh, that was a mirage. Like it wasn't real. Like nothing really changed,
Mm.
And then you realize that, oh, it's not the number of properties, it's the people that are more important. That's why it really didn't matter. So then seeking the Lord, what is the next thing that you would have for me? And it was 40 communities by 2030.
Mm.
And we're close to that now between our 5 operating companies. We have 3 passion projects and 33 different apartment communities across the state. So what is our next our next horizon? You know, I really want to pour into the people that have surrounded me during this journey at this phase of my life, and
Mm.
to see them succeed in their individual endeavors. So, we've got a lot of talented and passionate leaders that we've accumulated, and I just can't wait to see them uh, carry more weight and then be rewarded for that moving forward.
Mm. Tell me about those passion projects. Sounds fun.
Yeah. We have a commercial building on 31 and 465. Michael
Mm.
Graves was the architect of it. It's currently 8% occupied, but Lord willing, we'll fill it up in the years to come. And we're currently going to create a co working space on one of the wings. There's a school that may move in.
Mm.
I've got non-disclosure agreements signed on some other portions of the building as well. So yeah, it's well positioned as like the tip of the spear between Carmel and Indianapolis, and definitely felt pulled to purchase that building. It took us several years and became friends with the owner through the process.
Mm.
But I think it is one of our assignments. Beyond that, we have a former monastery up in Wisconsin that we're in the process of redoing. It'll be a 13 room, kind of like a giant Airbnb that we can use for
Mm.
spiritual or secular activities. It's on 186 acres and right on a river, class
Mm.
one waterfall. So excited about doing that. And we've got 2 or 3 other things in the works as well.
What about the estuary?
Well, that's one. It's we have 4 Airbnbs there, also a wedding venue, great spot for events. I know you got to spend a lot of time in there. Uh, it's all done, being remodeled now, and yeah, happy to host a monthly Igniter Award where we raise up some of our the greatest and most unrecognized treasures within our community.
Mm.
Last month, we had Ethan Pennington with Felon Up. Ethan goes behind bars to serve the juveniles who have lifetime sentences, juveniles
Mm.
who are sentenced as adults, and he prepares them for their transition into the adult population. We got to see him reconcile with his victim's brother in exchange forgiveness in front of a crowd of maybe 50 or 65 people. And it was super, super powerful to see Ethan's own transformation, and then Wally's extension of forgiveness for what was done.
And you have from what I've heard, a church there now, right?
It's not. There is a church that meets there once a month.
Mm.
Yeah, uh, it's a it's a little bit different worship experience, and the
Mm.
estuary was created as a spiritual innovation center. So yeah, JD and his wife Liz started this new movement and went to their first service, and it was just beautiful. It was
Mm.
more experiential than anything else. It wasn't so much like content based, but beautiful worship, time of prayer, and I would encourage anyone to come check it out.
Mm. What are you most excited for in this season, and what are you anticipating coming in this season and within the near future for you?
I can't wait to see the house factory just flourish. I want to triple production in the years ahead. We've got a great team that has been assembled for such a time as this to carry the weight of that. We hope to increase wages there on the factory floor. We've got a 401k contribution, great major medical policy. There's an apartment complex that we own and operate within walking distance to the factory, and our nonprofit foundation offers a rent discount to those who need it, who help build those homes every day. So
Mm.
excited to see that. I think with Helix development, we're looking at working on several public private partnerships moving forward. I hope to build 2 or 3 communities per year. Amanda Warren is doing a tremendous job with renewing management, caring for our 5,000 residents. We've got a couple of acquisition renovations right now that we're doing up in Fort Wayne, as well as a new construction project. So that's kind of like on the business front. And then on the home front, we've got one daughter left at home. She's 17 years old. So can't wait for her to figure out what's next for her. I believe that she's going to attend college. And then, yeah, just hang out with my wife. We've been married for it'll be 26 years this year, and we've always had a vision of growing old together and ending up on a porch swing together.
Mm.
And so I can't wait to spend more time with her, just rediscover who she is, and just continue to improve that relationship year after year.
Curious, as a family where entrepreneurship is one of your core values, what is your view? Actually, entrepreneurship, faith, and education.
Yeah.
What is your view on college?
Yeah. Well, I think college is an option, but not a requirement. I'm not one of the people that say, hey, look, if you don't go to college, you're not, like you can still have a great life. That being said, I mean, I started out as a meat cutter and then eventually went to school at night, and I value my education and that experience. I think it's, what is your specific calling? And, if it's in the professional environment, a college degree could be a helpful thing. If you're going into the skilled trades, guess what? You're as valuable as a person who has been to college, but it may not be a requirement.
Hmm.
So I think you have to look at the individual. But I have a high regard for the people who pick up trash at my communities on the daily basis. And I am married to a PhD, and I don't believe that I don't believe in classes, So I think like each human being is God's most precious possession, and guess what? We need people who pick up trash. We need people who enter bills. We need people who frame houses. We need people who are great at human resource things. And so, yeah, I think it's the individual. It's up to the individual to choose.
You've been in a position where you've had the opportunity to, like I said, for me personally, be like a spiritual father, but also for other believing entrepreneurs in our community, really help raise them up as leaders, pour into them. What have you seen with the coming generation of leaders that you applaud that maybe we're doing even better than your
Yeah.
generation, and
Uh,
where can we improve?
Well, you're showing up and you're coming together, and I get inspired by the next generation. I love all the new babies that are being created. I got so many right now in my life. It's kind of like my wife and I had our like core group of friends, and every guy got married, everybody started having babies, and then now like a lot of the young people that I look up to are also, expanding their families. But I love the energy and the creativity, the selflessness, the community mindedness of your generation. I think you guys, you operate with a lot of freedom. I think you can look at a lot of older people and be like, that's not what I want. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So live with that freedom, live with that abundance mentality. I think it's beautiful, and yeah, I want more of it.
What might we be blind to?
I would say just tenacity, like it just takes a lot, day after day, week after week, I was thinking about Saturday mornings, from like 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's like this is when we take new ground, there's the Monday and the Friday, but then there's like the overtime.
Mm.
And it does, if you want to build something new, it takes a lot. And so you have to have focus and clarity and remain in the consistent direction. If you're trying to split yourself five ways while being created, it's just, it's too much all at once. So I would say, pick one thing, get really good at that, and then don't be afraid to pivot to something else, because the world is just changing so rapidly. So if you have blinders on, it's probably not going to work out. You have to have a 360 view. And I really thought that single families would be it for me. We
Mm.
purchased, we renovated, then we had this innovative lease to own program, and I just
Mm.
loved it. Unfortunately, our conversion rate was like 0.01%. So
Mm.
it didn't work. Like,
Yeah.
but that eventually led me to multifamily, which eventually led me to the house factory. And now we've got a whole family of companies working together to help solve the housing crisis here in Indiana. So don't be afraid to iterate and evolve over time.
How do you stay 360 with a 360 view without becoming distracted from what you are today building? And especially to some extent, I would assume you're going to annoy your team by saying, "Hey, we could do this," you know?
Yeah. Well, I had to build multiple teams because I did annoy them. So you're accurate there. And so, if I wanted to start a development company, that wasn't going to be inside the property management structure. So we had to start a whole new company to do
Mm.
that. And we needed to start a house factory, a whole new organization, a whole new senior leadership team. Thankfully, property management has been ahead of it all. That's our oldest company, and it's been performing well. Amanda's been doing a great job taking care of our residents and our employees, and that's helped fuel the startup of these other organizations. And then all those special projects, passion projects, are in transformation ventures. So I would say that if you're a serial entrepreneur, I wasn't able to stick it all in one entity and have that entity figure it out. But
Mm.
I kind of picture them as like spinning plates, so you get one going, then you move on to another one, you spin a little bit. And so we've got five of those, and you just go to the one that's most wobbly right now. So, yeah. And so the one that's wobbly, you just spin it a couple times and it gets going again. Businesses should be like vehicles. They should run by themselves. But once in a while, you're going to pop the tire. You need to get out and you need to fix it. But yeah, so to figure out what does a good operating vehicle look like, smell like, and there's a budget for it is
Mm.
important. And then it takes a while to assemble that car. So be patient with the process. But eventually, my intention is to have it drive by itself. But as a visionary founder, leader, you would want to pre-program that car with the destination that it's going to go to. So,
Yeah.
you know, you want to make sure that your core values are held in high regard.
And are your core values consistent across
Not
companies?
really. No. I mean, they're not like diametrically
Yeah.
opposed, but each one of them is a little bit different. Each organization has their own culture
Mm.
that has been formed not just by me, but as the leadership team comes together over time.
Hmm. How important is it, especially, I guess, in the beginning, almost asking for myself, um, how important is it to have to have the vision, but also should you just get out of the way and let your team do most of it, or should you still be in the nitty gritty, the weeds, if you will,
Yeah.
or both?
I mean, I tried to hire out my assignments for a long time, and it cost me a lot of money and it hurt a lot of people.
Mm.
So I would say to stick with it until you're not needed anymore. Yeah.
How do you become not needed anymore if 'cause it sounds like also some hesitancy with initially maybe having hired wrong, if that's right?
Yeah. I I do the best with subject matter experts. So somebody is really, really good at their given thing. And there was a time when I thought, well, I'll just hire a generalist, like
Mm,
anyone can do it. And that has not worked out well for me at all.
mm,
And, unfortunately, they got hurt during the process. A lot of good people just didn't have great depth of experience in whatever subject matter that I had asked them to do. And I thought because it's easy for me, it's going to be easy for someone else.
mm.
One of my coaches said to me, it's like playing the guitar. If I asked you to play the C chord, um, if you know guitar, like it's easy. If I try to do it, it's super hard. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But then, it would be like, well, I'm frustrated. They can't even play a simple chord. And it's like, no wonder why they're not a musician.
Mm,
So because it's easy for me doesn't mean it's going to be easy for the next person that I put into that
mm.
position of responsibility.
Where do you want to take this? Do you have anything on mind, on your heart?
Oh, yeah, just appreciate the opportunity to share today. Thank you for teasing out a lot of the gold nuggets within me. And yeah, just can't wait to see what happens in the city of Indianapolis in the next 10 years. I think this is a unique community. I'm thankful to be a part of it. And yeah, I'm just expectant and excited to see
Yeah.
great things happen here in Indy.
We were talking on it the other day, and I'm seeing the Lord work in bigger and bigger ways throughout the city and
Mhm.
in the business space, but also in just vocational ministries. As you know, you can build for the Lord without the Lord actually being involved.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing a lot of altars going up to the Lord in the form of organizations that are out of overflow from the Lord.
Mhm.
So it's inspiring to see.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something special happening here for sure.
Well, this was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you,
I
Tony.
really am. I was very excited for this episode,
Yeah.
and I'm very grateful for it. So, Ethan, thank you for coming on. Where can people find you? How can people connect with you?
LinkedIn would probably be best. Just Ethan Fernhaber there. I only have 2 posts on Instagram, so we'll see what happens as I enter into my 50th year of
Yeah.
life. Not that great with social media, but LinkedIn is a great spot to start. And our website is restorehopeindiana.com. You can learn more about me and my story. I even have like personality assessments, a timeline on there. So
Mm.
it's a great resource if you're interested in a broken, put back together person called Ethan. So
I'll put those links in the description as well,
awesome.
so that the audience can find them. And thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.